The morning after the storm broke was a grim revelation. Streets once vibrant with life now lay buried under a chaotic mixture of mud, shattered glass, and twisted metal. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and despair, punctuated by distant cries and the ceaseless hum of rescue vehicles. Survivors emerged from their makeshift shelters, faces etched with exhaustion and disbelief, as they confronted the ruins of their homes and communities. Among them were families torn apart, children clutching photographs of loved ones lost in the flood, elders weeping beside remnants of their possessions, and neighbors consoling one another amid the rubble. The emotional weight of loss hung thick, a silent testament to nature's indiscriminate wrath. Yet amid the sorrow, flickers of hope glimmered. Stories of survival and bravery circulated, of neighbors forming human chains to pull each other from rising waters, of strangers sharing scarce food and warmth, and of rescue workers tirelessly navigating treacherous conditions to bring relief. Rescue operations intensified as teams moved beyond immediate evacuations to deliver medical aid, restore communication, and distribute essentials. Makeshift clinics sprouted in schools and community centres, staffed by overworked doctors and volunteers confronting a growing health crisis fueled by contaminated water and injuries. The government declared states of emergency, mobilising military units and international assistance. Yet logistical challenges persisted. Damaged roads hindered supply routes, power outages complicated coordination, and heavy rains threatened renewed flooding. Every moment was a battle not only against the elements but against time itself. Meanwhile, the media spotlighted the unfolding tragedy, broadcasting raw footage that captured both devastation and resilience. Images of flooded streets, toppled buildings, and exhausted rescuers flooded screens worldwide, evoking global sympathy and calls for aid. This disaster had shaken not only the physical landscape but the very fabric of communities. It was a stark reminder of the escalating dangers posed by climate change and extreme weather, forces growing ever more unpredictable and merciless. But in the heart of the chaos, one truth endured: the unbreakable will of humanity to survive, rebuild, and rise from the floodwaters stronger than before. As the floodwaters began to recede, the daunting reality of recovery took center stage. Entire neighborhoods lay submerged in mud and debris. Roads were cracked and impassable, and vital infrastructure, water, electricity, communications, was crippled or destroyed. The scale of destruction was overwhelming, and the battle to restore normalcy was just beginning. Communities rallied, but the challenges were immense. Many residents were displaced, forced to live in crowded shelters with limited resources. Access to clean water and food became a daily struggle. Disease outbreaks loomed, fueled by stagnant waters and poor sanitation. Medical teams worked tirelessly to contain illnesses, treat injuries, and provide psychological support to traumatized survivors. Rescue workers who had fought tirelessly in the storm now faced a new mission: rebuilding. Bridges had to be repaired, dams inspected for stability, and homes reconstructed, efforts complicated by the ongoing threat of aftershocks and further rains. The fragility of the region's infrastructure was brutally exposed, and experts warned that without urgent investment and adaptation, future disasters could be even more catastrophic. Amid this struggle, stories of human resilience and solidarity shone brightly. Volunteers from across the nation and international aid organizations poured in, bringing supplies, expertise, and hope. Neighbors shared what little they had, and communities united in cleanup drives and rebuilding efforts. Social media campaigns raised funds and awareness, connecting a global audience to the plight and spirit of those affected. At the same time, political leaders faced mounting pressure to address the underlying causes of such disasters: climate change, deforestation, poor urban planning, and inadequate disaster preparedness. Debates raged over policies and accountability, as citizens demanded action to protect vulnerable populations from the wrath of nature's fury. This was more than a natural disaster. It was a call to awaken to a new reality, where humanity must confront its impact on the environment and adapt to survive. The scars left behind told a harrowing story, but also a story of hope, courage, and the unyielding determination to rise from the ashes. Months after the storm's brutal assault, the echoes of devastation continued to reverberate through every corner of the affected regions. The physical wounds, collapsed buildings, shattered bridges, and ravaged farmlands were visible scars of the catastrophe. Yet beneath the surface, the emotional and economic toll threatened to unravel communities and livelihoods alike. Families displaced by the floods grappled with uncertain futures, many still living in temporary shelters, caught in a cycle of vulnerability and dependency. Children missed school, local businesses remained shuttered, and farmers faced ruined crops and eroded soil. The slow trickle of aid and reconstruction funds sparked frustration and despair, fueling fears that some communities might never fully recover. Meanwhile, scientists and environmentalists warned that this disaster was far from an isolated event. The frequency and intensity of such extreme weather phenomena were increasing, a direct consequence of unchecked climate change. Rising global temperatures, melting glaciers, and shifting weather patterns created perfect storms that battered vulnerable cities and rural areas alike. Local governments faced an urgent mandate to invest in resilient infrastructure, early warning systems, and sustainable land management. But political will often collided with bureaucratic inertia and limited resources, leaving critical gaps in preparedness. The question loomed: could lessons be learned in time to prevent the next tragedy? Public awareness grew as survivors shared their stories, harrowing accounts of escape, loss, and survival that galvanized grassroots movements demanding climate action and disaster reform. From urban centers to remote villages, communities began crafting adaptation strategies, blending traditional knowledge with modern technology to withstand future onslaughts. International cooperation took on new urgency as the disaster underscored how climate crises transcend borders. Aid agencies, governments, and scientists collaborated to develop shared early warning networks, disaster response protocols, and funding mechanisms aimed at safeguarding the most at-risk populations. Despite the hardships, a powerful current of hope surged beneath the despair. Human resilience proved to be the ultimate force, communities rebuilding stronger, forging bonds of solidarity, and advocating for a safer, more sustainable future. This was no longer just a story of destruction. It was a battle cry for survival in a rapidly changing world, where every storm, every flood, every rescue was a testament to humanity's capacity to endure and to adapt.